So it's really tempting to just try to make the coolest thing you can to get people to show up to the thing you're doing and call it church. And try to pepper Jesus into it somehow, and maybe even pull a series of scriptures that enable you to say what you want to say. But so much of what you're doing, the work you're doing, is trying to ground us to this story of the scriptures. Say more about how you ended up in this thing, the Bible Project, and what inspires you about drawing us into this beautiful old story.
Yep. Wow. Well, that's a great question. I came to faith through a ministry outreach, through a local church here that built a skateboard park in its back lot.
So they did cool things.
Yeah, they did cool things. And it was the ultimate of cultural, contextualized form of the good news. And I heard about Jesus in a way that connected that I'd never even grasped before. And I'm eternally grateful for that ministry that continues to this day. However, as I have journeyed on in mostly non-denominational Protestantism, one weakness of that I have found is a constant reinvention of itself according to, and I'm only 45, but you can already see it in my just few decades of the church constantly reinventing itself according to the narratives that are floating and prominent in whatever is going on. And so I think this is why for me the scriptures are more vital as an anchor point than ever. Because at this season of my life, what I want to know is that I'm not making this up.
Yes.
I want to be grounded in a community that's actually anchored in something other than itself.
Yeah.
And so the ability of the scriptures to invite us into its agenda and its story, and that we are trying to see the world through its lenses and ways of seeing reality. To me, that's the only way, and historically, that has been one of the main ways that church traditions are able to not just become an echo chamber of whatever people are thinking or saying in any given moment in culture. And so how you do that? Well, man, there's so many expressions. One of the simplest ways is to read a lot of the Bible aloud with groups of people. So some Protestant traditions are really into read the Bible by yourself. And that's cool. You don't do a lot of that. But there are other important ways, because there's so much uncomfortable, crazy stuff in the Bible that's going to force you to ask hard questions. And it's all there on purpose. Those aren't glitches in the Bible. They're features that force communities to talk about hard issues, about our lives, our communities, about God and the big questions. And the whole thing's right there, if we're willing to engage our communities in it in ways other than just sound bites.
And I've heard you talk about this in podcasts and other places where you literally, I want to make sure this is really clear, you literally get people in rooms and you just read huge chunks of the Bible in long form.
Yeah, sure.
And then you talk about it.
Yes, yeah. And there are many church traditions where this is like a thing, It's called the lectionary. And really, huge swaths of Christianity have never not done this.
Right.
It's mostly certain forms of Protestantism that have, just do things differently.
Yeah.
So, however, growing up myself in that tradition, it was this novel thing. Well, we would do it in college of Friday night, at so-and-so's house, we're just going to read the Gospel of Mark aloud and then just talk about it. And it's awesome. It's really... It's
the
really,
whole thing.
Really,
I just want to make you
it takes barely 2 hours to read the Gospel of Mark aloud. And it is a powerful experience. And and the letters of the New Testament take 30 minutes.
Yeah,
some
maybe.
Of them.
Right.
And so, there's just something that happens. And inevitably there'll be a part that warms everyone's hearts. There'll be different parts that cause different people to question things. And there'll be some parts that make everybody really uncomfortable. And it's all there on purpose to get us to wrestle as a community. And so it's a very simple practice, the public reading of Scripture, but it's a practice for traditions that don't do it, that I think there's something to explore here that can be really powerful.
Mm.